butterfly yoga and Pilates at home. I've had some requests for abdominal exercises, so I'm going to show you today one of my favorite exercises. You'll need a strap for this exercise. You may also need a small couch cushion or a folded up blanket. We'll just leave that to the side for a moment. So we're going to take the strap, and if you could imagine that you had a thread going all the way through from your belly button and back out at the back of your waist, that's exactly where you want to place the strap. It's going to go right at the back of the waist. You don't need to tie it there or anything, just hold on to it there and lie yourself down and onto the floor. So once you're down on the floor, let your strap go. And the first thing I want you to notice is what happens to your head and your neck. So if your head or your chin starts to poke up like this towards the ceiling and you're on the back of your head rather than on the bony ridge of the skull, this is where you could use your folded up blanket. And just pop that in and underneath your head. Then I'm going to ask you to take your knees in towards your chest. Now once you do that, notice how now you can feel, and particularly with the aid of the blanket, you can feel the whole length of your spine, right from the very bottom of your neck all the way down to the back of your pelvis, is in contact with the floor. From here, just give the strap a tug on one side and notice how it's wedged there, it's anchored right under your low back. So what we want to do for all of this exercise is to keep the low back and the whole length of the spine imprinted into the floor. So if you could imagine that you have a slab of cement there and you want to have the imprint of every single vertebra in that slab of cement imprinted there. And then from here, we're going to start to take the knees and bring them out and over the hips. You can bring your shins parallel to the ceiling. Now for some of you, this may already start to take your pelvis away and bring it forward so that you get this gap at the low back and the mat. But remember that our objective throughout this whole movement is to keep the low back in contact with the floor. So if that happens to you, the movement of the exercise for you will be moving your legs towards the chest and away, and you can alternate them, while all the while focusing on keeping the strap really taut so that it doesn't move when you give it a pull. And you're doing this using your abdominal muscles. Once you've mastered that and you're comfortable with that, you can start to take your leg away altogether and take it down towards the floor so that you start to toe tap. And again, you can alternate legs. Now for a moment, just watch the way my legs are moving and take the focus away from the abdominals. And you'll notice that I'm keeping this right angle here at my legs. Often when people do this movement, if they're finding it difficult to control the movement with the abdominal muscles, they'll let the low leg drop down and touch down so that it makes it an easier movement. It makes it an easier exercise, not as challenging on the abdominals. So you want to try to keep the right angle, not change the angle of the leg. And again, keeping the focus. Now I suggest that you do this movement on an exhale. So inhale, let the leg come back, exhale, toe taps down, and continue that way. Now, to progress this movement, so once you've got that, you're happy with that, you know your strap is not moving, you know that you're anchoring down, then you can take both legs and bring them to straight. And then we can start to lower the whole leg down towards the floor. So again, you're keeping your pelvis anchored down and onto the floor so that as the leg moves away, you don't end up with the pelvis doing this rocking motion. If it rocks forward like this, you'll be able to slide your strap all the way through. So again, you're focusing on keeping your strap anchored. Again, as you alternate, one leg comes down and then the other one comes up. Alternating straight legs. Now what you might notice if you're familiar with some Pilates movements, that this is the basis of a lot of the movements that we do while lying on the floor. So if you think of single leg stretch where the knee is drawn in and the other leg is extended, you want to be able to use these abdominal muscles to draw down while your legs are in this position. Otherwise, once you start to change your legs, there's that possibility that the pelvis will drop forward. And now the work is starting to go into your low back rather than into your abdominal muscles. Draw your knees in, just give yourself a rest there for a moment. We can start to add some arms into that movement too. So let's take it back to where we had the knees over the hips, hands over the shoulders, and then tap down. As your left toes tap down, let the right hand reach behind you. So now you're just adding a little more challenge to the stability as you reach away and back to the center. But the focus is still the same. You're still aiming to keep that belt. Mine has moved a little bit because I slipped back a little bit. You want to make sure that it's right under your belly button, so that even while you move your arm and your leg, that there's no gap either at the back of the waist or at the back of the ribs. So again, you're in this position. We call this one dead bug. So the knees are over the hips, hands are over the shoulders, opposite arm, opposite leg. Reach away from the center, and you want to feel that the movement is coming right from the center of your body, right from the area of your belly button. Then remember that we progress into straight legs. One leg comes down, and then we lift and change. And again, this one can be done just like that single leg stretch, where one leg comes in and the other one comes out. And at no stage does the low back lift away from the floor. The next progression of this movement would be to take both legs together and lower both legs at the same time. For this one, let's take the hands down and onto the floor. As we start to lower the legs down, really anchoring down through the abdominal muscles, and only lower to the point where you can control the movement. So if you get to here, and you feel like your pelvis is starting to arch forward and your strap can move, then you want to come back with the legs. So again, you anchor down, make sure your strap is snug under your back, and then begin to lower the legs to the point that you can control the movement. And then lift the legs back up. If you've mastered this bit, then you could bring yourself into a position that we call hollow body. So the legs go down, and as the legs go down, we can also lift the head so that we're working both the upper and lower abdominal muscles. Reaching the arms forward, palms face up, holding and breathing. And again, you could hold this maybe for up to 45 seconds. That would be our goal. Come back, draw the knees in towards the chest. And let's just roll up and into a seated position. So have a play with those movements. See which version of the movement suits you best. And you can then add on as you feel stronger through the abdominal muscles. I hope they're helpful. I hope you enjoyed them. And I hope to see you on the mat again soon.